at the grocery store here, and this was stuck up under the credit card slider thing, and it says, "America under attack, who can protect us?" And it's got the Twin Towers, and it looks kind of old, so I haven't opened it up yet. It's kind of an unboxing of some vintage propaganda. So it's religious in nature. Kind of interesting how a government fear psyop drives people into a religion to seek answers and help from something that's fake. I mean, these are integrated operations, if you ask me. I mean, media is religion today. So let's see what we have here. At 8:45, wrong, it was 8:46. This is misinformation. We watched in horror. The most serious attack since Pearl Harbor. Where is your security? So the answer to 9/11 is not the Bible, because 9/11 was a hoax. The answer is common sense, or rather, not common sense, critical thinking. But it's full of Bible tracts. But I'm not saying this is disingenuous or manipulative. The people who are looking at this within a religious framework are automatically believing what they see on TV. Auto believers. In the last days, so the world's going to end. Now, it feels old, as in the paper. And there he is. So let's see here. Bible verses, Bible verses. Trouble is guaranteed. Now is the time. Yeah, it's actually falling apart here. Came from Garland, Texas. You can order it from atstracts.org. Anyway, it's just a religious tract dressed up with 9/11, and it says America under attack, and I found it just on the random. Thought it was interesting. I'm going to keep it, of course. I collect this type of stuff. I have a whole box of religious tracts from this cult called the Armed Christian Coalition, or Armed Christian Commune something. I'll have to dig it up. Amazing stuff, but now that I'm looking at it, it makes a lot of sense. Like, I do think these things are... I do think I'm right in suggesting that media has replaced and supplanted religion, but they're not really necessarily competitors. One is just a newer iteration of the other. Anyway, I'm going to go back and finish doing the archives. I sent out the one from last night where I spoke with Fakeologist, and there's obviously quite a lot going on. I'm following up on Los Angeles, 2,000 troops, 500 Marines on standby, and I'm seeing other people drawing comparisons to the LA riots, which were 33 years before. And this does have a number of analogous situations, and we talked about this a bit last night. Terry Nichols, Rodney King, a bit of foreshadowing here. And the more I think about it, I think this may be similar in many ways to LA riots 92. A lot of the same forces may be in play here, but we'll see. Clump says media, not science. The mainstream religion is, I would call the mainstream media itself like the state church. The religious doctrines are the teachings of scientism. But if you were to give it a label, you would call it nasatology, because it's essentially a space as heaven, but it's a science fiction version. But it's a syncretized mashup Frankenstein belief system. It's designed to be a one-size-fits-all religion, and it really is. You know, the word Catholic means universal. And I would argue that the MSM box is the universal worldview. And if you just replace worldview with religion, it makes a lot more sense. You just have to look past the teachings and what they say they're about and just look at the essential structure. where you have a class of ignorant sheep in the dark, hoodwinked, wool over their eyes, and then you have the intermediaries, the priesthood, who speak for the authority. And in this case, the authority is the screen, and everything else just frames its perspective through it. And this is why conspiracy theorists are deeper in the matrix, because they know the screen lies, but instead of stepping away from it and looking for more info outside of it, they go deeper into it, where there are alternative stories lying in wait. And I've been very much vindicated, and I'm going to talk about this again today a bit, in my discussions about Mirage Men, which is a documentary that takes place here by Kirtland Air Force Base, where it turns out that the UFO mythology was spread by the Air Force through special agents posing as conspiracy theorists in order to discredit eyewitnesses to classified military aircraft. And I've been talking about this for some time, saying, hey, there's no reason to believe in alien abductions, cattle mutilations, any of the X-Files stuff, because it's all government agitprop, and it's designed to get the atheists their own version of the angel. It's another eschatology, salvation story, but it's all mythology. And I've been saying this again since I've seen Mirage Men. It's been maybe 3 years I've been talking about this consistently. And I've been saying there are other Mirage Men out there. They're not just with UFOs. They're pushing Mandela effects, alternative cosmologies, etc. But now the Pentagon has finally stepped up and said, yeah, we made it all up. It's all bullshit. Area 51, made up stuff. Everything about Area 51, made up by the Pentagon. And they say it's to cover up secret special weapons and stuff. No, it's because it's an alt belief system. But the takeaway here is the Pentagon manufactured alien mythology and spread it, allowed it to fester. Now think about the last, just in your lifetime, how many movies and video games and books and comics have you consumed based on the alien theme? And you have to recognize that's government propaganda. And I've said that for some time, that science fiction, anything with space travel, meteors, space rocks, aliens, that it's all government propaganda because they're trying to control your worldview. So Star Trek, Final Frontier, deep space and all this stuff. Well, deep space is a metaphor for the inner space between your ears where they're really seeking to control your paradigm by giving you the ultimate frame of reference, your cosmology, the God's eye view. So you go far enough away from the earth and this is what it looks like from out here. Like that's the God's eye view, and it's the establishing shot for the stage, the world stage, where your entire life will take place. But the Pentagon admitting that they have been